Okay. I can't. I tried to do the bring, the fucking Iggy pushes every week. Well, guys, I think you're kind of wondering why you've been blessed with a solo filler by yours truly. I can tell you why. But to start, you all know that I can sell ice to a fucking Eskimo, sand to an Egyptian. You know what I mean? I got the gift of gab when it comes to talking. Depending if you want to hear from my fucking over chatty ass or not. I go off on tangents a lot. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's the perfect opportunity to just have a solo podcast so I can just be free to do just that. Talk shit. And I fucking love it. I mean, probably too much, to be honest. Sometimes I'll be out with Tori or something and I'll be talking to someone and I'll be maybe like, I don't know, being too intense or too much for some people. And then I'll see her just side-eye me and just be like, sometimes I'll be like, oh, as in like wrap it up. You know what I mean? Because I do not know when to stop ever. So been looking forward to this one, to be honest. Obviously, I listen to a lot of comedians and shit and they do solos and I'm like, I can easily do this. It's just like, it's a bit different when you haven't got people to vibe off, but I'm sure everyone out there listening like fucking carry me through this one, huh? But yeah, I don't know, man. It's getting, by this time when you listen to this, we'll already be in Europe, and I know you probably, it's like flogging a dead horse. You kind of probably don't know when I'm going to fucking shut up about Europe. I feel like we've been talking about Europe for the last few podcasts, but man, like it's just such a good feeling. Trying to get overseas and experience new things. You know what I mean? Like it does something to you after when you travel somewhere. Just get out of the country. I'm not saying Australia shit is the best country in the world as far as I'm concerned, but just seeing something new, it changes your outlook and perspective in so many ways. Like you come back almost wiser. You know what I mean? You feel younger because you've just been enriched with this overwhelming feeling of, just uniqueness in your life. It's not that mundane. Go to work 5 days a week, have the weekend off, sometimes work 6 days, have 1 day off. Like just in this forever rat race. We're just fucking hamsters in this little wheel chasing the cheese. You know what I mean? It's just good to get out and experience new things because it makes those working in between those holidays, you're working towards a goal. You want to experience new things. It's all about experiences. Money is important as well. But as I get older, man, like life is fleeting and you got to try and make the most of it, to be honest, especially in your 20s. You know what I mean? And then nowadays, your 30s, man, maybe I'm just saying this because I'm approaching 30, like, shit, next year. But I feel like your 30s now, you're not even old. Like, people always go to me, you're for taking the piss, you're 28, you're old as. I'm like, I don't know. I feel fucking 18, you know what I mean? Like, I feel good. Maybe that's because I fucking PB'd on squats today. No, I'm not going to brag. But your boy got quads, man. I got quads on quad. My quad has a quad. I don't know why I'm speaking American, but yeah, shit. But seriously, man, just do it. Just get out. Just do it. 30s is nothing. You can still travel in your 30s. It's my fourth overseas trip now. But I'm still hungry for more after this. I'm just fucking so G'd up, man. So I feel like in the past I've been to when was my first trip? I went to Greece twice. I went in 8 years ago, 2015 or something for my first time. And I went with my sister and her friends and their boyfriends who I was kind of tight with as well. I went there and I only went to Greece because I was not broke, but I only had enough for Greece. They were doing all these other countries and I just did Greece, the Greek islands, came home. So heartbroken. That fucking trip to the airport when they've just continued on to Spain and I've just gone home is fucking heartbreaking. But went in 2015, went in about 2018. Now, I did the first trip when I was single and the second trip in 2018 when I was, with my ex. God bless her soul. Bit of a loony, but that's a topic for another day. But yeah, I can tell you now the trip in 2015, was definitely better. And it's just, but even so, like both trips were fucking amazing. Like they call it Greek time for a reason. These are my people. I know I'm Egyptian, but Greek time is legit. Those motherfuckers are never on time. But like, let's say they rock up at the cruise boat at like 6 a.m. and they're leaving at 7 or 8, or they might leave in even earlier. So you got to get there really earlier. But yeah, both trips, like Greece is just like heaven. It's like the heaven of Europe. Like I haven't been anywhere else, so this is obviously like in terms of Europe, Greece was the only place I went to twice. So it's just like that's all I have to go off. But I could just the white buildings and the blue fucking houses, like the rooftops. You know what I mean? Like the sea, flat sea everywhere. Like it's fucking romantic as. But like you get around quad bikes over there as well. Like you get around with quads. That's your main kind of means of transport. This is a random fact, but there's fucking not feral cats, but just wild, like stray cats everywhere. Like not too much, but like you'll be at a restaurant sometimes in Mykonos and you'll just see like 5 stray cats around your eating spot, not bothering you, just hanging out. And you're like, what the fuck? Where's all these fucking cats? Like, yeah, and then fucking Stavros is in the corner, little waiter there, and he's just surrounded by fucking pussy. And not pussy, I'm talking about cats. Like, yeah, it's fucking strange. It is strange. But we did this in order. So I'm getting off on a tangent again, but no, fuck that. This is my tangent, right? This is the Joey cast today. But we went from Athens. We landed in Athens. And basically both Greece trips were the same trip essentially. So we did it in this order both times. Athens. You fly into Athens. We spent like 2 days in Athens. We seen the Acropolis. If you go into Greece, you always land in Athens, or like, I mean, usually, always or usually. Which one is it? But like you get flown into Athens, and then you stay there for a little bit, not too long. You know, it's kind of like a lot of people talk shit about Athens, but it's just a little city, like a lot of like markets, like on the shit on the black market and stuff, like people selling shit that you would never thought has any business to be sold, like ever. You're like, why are you selling half a doll? Why are you selling an old fleshlight? Like, you know what I mean? Like some of the shit they were selling, man, I was like, bro, you're really selling a used toothbrush right now? Fuck, man. Just has a tally on how many times that toothbrush has been used. And if it's been used the most, it's like the most expensive thing. Oh, fuck. But like, yeah, but it's cool to see though. Like, although I'm talking shit about Athens and these black markets, and yeah, it's kind of dirty. It's a bit dirty, right? But it reminded me of, Hercules, the Disney, the animated one. In Athens, I'm pretty sure it was Athens. It's just the same kind of shit. It's exactly how they like it was when I went there. I watched that as a kid, obviously. Went there, exact kind of place. So yeah, it's kind of dirty, but the thing is, you got to go to the Acropolis, which is the old ruins. Like fucking Zeus lived up in there or some shit. But it's cool. But like I said, you don't need to spend too much time there. Went there. Got a ferry to Santorini first, because Santorini is the furthest island. So that's the longest ferry. And then you take ferries from Santorini to Mykonos, Eos. So, work back. So I went to Santorini, stayed there for a few nights. I was fucking hectic. Like the thing is with Santorini, in Fira, that's the capital, like the main place of Santorini. So it's just like all restaurants right on the cliff edge. You're looking at a dormant big volcano, like fucking however many, like a kilometer or more away, probably more, to be honest. It's a big fucked off fucking dormant volcano. And then opposite, you're just on this cliff edge in Santorini with all those white houses, blue roofs like I was talking about, these beautiful like pink, I don't know my flowers, but looked like, I don't know, instead of blue orchids, like those flowers, the blue orchids, it was like pink, but like probably not orchids, Imagine I just knew what they were. Dandelions. Well, they'd be fucking dandelions. Anyway, but had those pink flowers with the pavers and like little windy pathways and that lead into all these cool shops, and everyone's just so nice there, man. Like, I'm not saying people aren't nice here, but maybe it's the mood you're in as well. You know, you're in Mykonos, you're fucking floating. Like, you don't understand. Travel. If you're in your 20s, 30s, travel, man. But yeah, Mykonos is fucking beautiful. It's kind of like a mix of beauty, serenity, and actually like the nightlife is pretty good as well. They have this place in so after Mykonos, right? We went to Eos, and in Eos it's like Mykonos, but it's a bit more grungier in terms of like it's mainly for the partying, probably 80% for the partying. Like that's what it's known for, right? Where Mykonos has that, but beauty as well, and you can do your own thing and not be in the heart of it all, where it's doof, doof, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like there's two different kind of islands, obviously. My personal favorite is Mykonos, but there's this place in Eos where there's a bar and there's a chick that sits in the corner of the bar and like in front of kind of the dance floor, but off to the side, and people are just lining up, and I'm like, what the fuck's happening here? And I'm just seeing this line. And I'm like, oh, whatever. I didn't even pay it any mind and just start dancing, whatever. Fucking picking up all the hoes. Nah. Nah. But seriously, though, fucking we had this, like, this girl in the corner. I'm like, whatever. My fucking friend goes over and says, I'm gonna like, see what this is all about. I go behind her, and she's fucking up at the front, and my mate comes up, paints her hand, right? Paints her hand like this with like white paint. She had all these different colors, but this one was like white. Full painted it. Gave you a drink, like a full drink. You have to down it, and then when you down it, you're like you, and she just fucking boom wallops you in the fucking face, bro. Like slaps you in the face. She slapped me in the face, and she wrung my ear. The bitch cupped my fucking ear. That's the only thing worse. I mean, obviously getting fucking kneed and elbowed and punched in the face is worse, but I can take a slap to the face, whatever. You know what I mean? It's what it is. But you get the ear, bro. You clip the ear. It's game, set, match, bro. You just hear like fucking, wow, oh, it's like you'd be hit in the head with a fucking missile or something. It's just, and the bitch be like, do you want to, she'll be like, do you want another drink? And you just be hearing her mouth, seeing her mouth go, and you like, bitch, the only reason I ain't fucking abusing a woman right now is because I'm in fucking Eos. I'm living my fucking my life. I'm having the time of my life. I'm just like, just ignore the fact that imagine if that happened in a setting that wasn't Eos. You know what I mean? Like, wasn't in a fucking club and you're overseas and everyone's G'd up. Like, yeah, imagine if she just did it like you walked into a bookstore and the girl behind the reception, the fucking cashier lady, go to buy the book, fucking paint in her hand. Is that card or cash? You're like, card. Okay. She's like, it's the FBOS machine. And just as you tap that bitch, she goes, you're like, thanks for shopping. Do you want a bag? Fucking hell, the audacity. The audacity of that woman. But no. And then they had a place in Mykonos, I feel like. Yeah, Mykonos. I'm pretty sure it was Mykonos. Might be Mykonos. One of the two. I'm leaning towards Mykonos, though. Forget for the life of me a lot of what these places are called, because you go there and you're kind of half buckled already. So you're like, oh, what's here? Well, I remember Lost Boys was one where they had fucking, sounds like a pedophile ring, but it had like popcorn and shit. Like you can throw popcorn. You had like, I mean, we were throwing popcorn. You don't have to throw the popcorn, but we got that drunk. We were throwing the popcorn after we eating it. But like ping pong, they have fucking, beer pong. And I have all these other games like darts and shit. But there was this one place in particular. It had like, you heard that you were dancing and shit, the music was on, and all of a sudden there'd be a bell that rung. And everyone would just pile over to the bar. And because they have no RSA there, they clinged a bottle of lime juice and vodka together, like ding. And then like people would just say the bar's behind me. People are like lining back, like lining in line over the bar with their head up to the ceiling like this. and they just come over one by one and just vodka, lime. But I'm talking pour, right? And I've done it once, right? And I'm fucking getting cocky as and shit. He comes back a second time around, and I'm like, yeah, getting from the back in front of all, being cocky and shit, right? Like thinking I have the fucking biggest dick in there. I'm just like, yep, boom, big dick energy. Let's fucking do this. Let's go. See, this guy sees my cockiness, right? Sees how plastered I am. He sees how plastered I am, and he just goes, holds the lime. Just vodka, just straight vodka. And I'm like, fucking hell, man, this guy full punished me, eh? But then I'm like, at the end of the day, who's the real winner here? Get drunker quicker, huh? Fucking spat half of it back up, but if you're not expecting full fucking vodka in the back of your throat and you get it, it's just like you're swallowing that bitch like there's some lime. No lime in here, baby. So yeah, just no RSA. The partying there is insane. The vibes there is insane. The view, amazing. There's a spot in Mykonos called Little Venice, and they call it Little Venice because it looks like you're obviously in Venice in Italy. Like the building goes right up to the waterfront. The water's just crashing in. There's no land on the other side. It's just the building. Boom. It looks beautiful. But yeah. And I went back there twice, man. And even the hostess on the flight attendant, sorry, fucking hell. The flight attendant on the flight was just like, man, so where are you going? Like, because I stand up because my fucking ankles get swollen on the flights. I don't know why. I had cankles as a kid, so I feel like planes remind me of my fucking childhood for a bit. Just humble me. Be like, hey, you were fat. You go up in the flight, your ankles go, pfft. Your foot's looks like it's just blown up a medical glove. Like, oh, I am fat. But yeah, we went fucking. Fuck, what was I saying? I full fucking forgot what I was saying. Yeah, she full said to me, she's like, oh, well, how long where are you going? Tell me your whole trip. And I was like, well, we're going to the Greek islands. And we're going to Athens, Santorini, Mykonos, Eos. Oh, and Paros. I forgot to tell you guys about Paros. Paros isn't so great. You can skip that probably if you're short on time. But I was like, yeah, I'm going to all those islands. She's like, okay, sweet. She's like, where else? And I'm like, yeah, like that's kind of it. I was thinking about going to the Greek islands and for 2 weeks almost and calling it quits. She's like, that's a long flight for just the Greek islands. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, do I have gold chains hanging from me? What do you think? I'm made of money? At this time, I was like, what's 8 years ago? How old was I? I was 20. So Mans was struggling for cash, man, and I just had to play it off like, this fucking hot fucking air fucking flight attendant, sorry. It's just like roasting me about not being able to, and I felt like a cheap bastard. I wanted to just flex it and be like, oh, there's plenty more where that come from. Actually, I'm going on an all-round world tour, all around the world. So I'm kind of a big thing, blowing up in all these different countries. I have my own jet, so I thought, I usually fly a lot, so I thought this time, less is more. I'll just go to Greece, and then even though I can afford, to buy Greece in general, I can actually own Greece if I wanted to, yeah. I would show you, but my internet banking is not working, so yeah. But yeah, I just thought I'll call it on this one and be humble about it, and yeah, just Greek islands is fine. But really, I was just like, that's what my brain thought I said, but in reality, I said, yeah, I mean, it's short notice and, yeah, I kind of admitted to not having much money, which at that time I was like, oh, fuck, I'm such a loser. But I was 20, you know what I mean? Oh, whiskey, man. I never used to be a whiskey guy, but back in the day when I was younger in house parties and shit, before you actually able to go out, those were the glory days. So much fucking thrill. And then you realize you're just 18 and you can just do all that shit. You're like, I've been there, done that. But I used to drink vodkas a lot. Vodka was my shit. But, I mean, as I've got older, it's the brown liquor for me. You know what I mean? I said to Tori once, I like my liquor like I like my women. Brown. She's like, I'm white. I'm like, get a tan, bitch. No, I love you. I love you, baby. She knows I love her. But, yeah, but Greece all round, amazing. Amazing. And then in New Zealand in 2019, I went to New Zealand with a bunch of friends. It was my first actual overseas trip with friends, like proper friends, right? Because I did Greece both times with my sisters, and with their friends and their boyfriends. So it's kind of their group, but I can get along with anyone, so it was fine. But I feel like with the second trip, it was still my sisters and then my ex at the time, or my girlfriend at the time. But New Zealand, it was the first time I actually went with the boys, and there was 8 of us. I think there was 8. Me, fucking Scotty Mead, Zach Meyer, Dylan Evans, fucking Bristow, Hayden, Keeney, I'm missing Christian, everyone, man. It was an amazing trip. And if you haven't been to New Zealand, bro, you gotta go. You gotta go. Especially we went mainly. I was learning to snowboard, and I thought, fuck, what better way to learn how to snowboard in New Zealand than in New Zealand? And I just broke up with my ex at the time, my girlfriend at the time. And before that, I was a bit of a bitch, and I didn't really, I wasn't for the boys. You know, those type of guys that you never see, you just ghost, you're MIA, and you're like, where's Joey? And he gets a girlfriend. Like, you know, like as soon as he gets a girlfriend, he's out of action. So it was weird. Like after I, you know, it's deeper than that, you know what I mean? But at the time I wasn't for the boys. And then as soon as we broke up, I'm like, I've realized I've lost most or all of my friends. I feel like a fucking loser. So I was like, man, and then my mate Christian Cordova, shout out to Christian Cordova. He's probably not listening right now. The guy's a busy man, but yeah, he's the one that really prompted me to go, listen, man, I know you're going through some shit or whatever, but we're, you know, the boys are here for you, blah, blah, blah. And we're going to New Zealand, and he's like, just get a ticket. And I remember he asked me just before we broke up, and I was like, no, I couldn't do that. You know, I couldn't. McCall would be like, at the time, she'd be like, oh, fucking whatever. She wouldn't be happy with it. But I was just a bit of a bitch. But as soon as I broke up, I was like, he offered me that, bro. He was there for me in my time of need. And I was like, you know what? I had the money, but I just never thought of going. And I went, bro. And the trip of a lifetime, I'm telling you. The snow, man, it's just fucking, especially when you're in Queenstown. Like, we went to Queenstown first. And Queenstown's just a little town. It's exactly like a small little town where there's like a queen in it. So they call it Queenstown, you know? But it's just like, you know, there's just like a fucking New Zealand queen in there. But like, man, that was for real though. It's this little fucking town. There's snowy mountains, bro, in the background. It looks like a desktop, like a screensaver, you know, like a fucking, it feels fake. It feels like people are holding this fucking backdrop up, and then they drop it, and there's really just a fucking behind the scenes, like a little fucking curtain, like a Wizard of Oz shit. So fucking beautiful, bro. And if you're in Queenstown, obviously the snow, like I said, like, oh fuck, I'm gonna fuck these up. I think it's Coroner's Peak. Oh, I'm not gonna try to relay what they were, but 2 different locations where we were snowboarding. It was amazing, man. And I was learning with a group of Asians, so they made me look like fucking, I don't know, the Tony Hawk of snowboarding. Like, you know what I mean? Like this group of Asians just look like they fucking touched down from a UFO. You know, there's some Asians, and like, it's just like, they look extra Asian, and they look almost confused. It's like, oh. Especially the old ones, they always walk with their hands behind their back. Oh. No, these ones weren't old, but they looked lost dads. Imagine that, but on a snowboard. Do you know there's fresh ass Asians that are like really no English? They actually speak no English. There's the real hardcore ones where you can't get a word. So they were trying to learn from this guy, but he had to just show them by movement because they couldn't really pick up much. He could a bit, they could pick up a bit, but they were like falling over and over each other. You know what I mean? And I was shit. I was trash. But I looked amazing when I was next to them. You know what I mean? Like, they first teach you when you snowboard to use heels. So the snowboard, when you face the mountain, so your face is facing the mountain going down, right? You almost do a squat, like pop a semi-squat, like a sitting, like you're doing wall sits or something, but in the air, because you lean back, and because you're going down such a steep slope, you balance your weight out. So you dig your heels to slow down. So the side of the board digs into the snow, and that's how you slow down. And then easier said than done, but my lead leg was my right leg, and you got to just turn your body, and it's about trusting yourself to turn the snowboard so you're half down the mountain like this, going down, and then you got to kick the back leg. For me, it's my back right leg. Kick it out behind you to get that S-bend. They call them S-bends. So when you go down a hill, I used to just beeline, like they used to call me the Silver Surfer, because I was just... first of all, I look like I was surfing. When you snowboard, if you see snowboarders, they're standing upright, like they're back as not straight. They stand up more than surfers do. Surfers, you're crouching almost. Like your center of gravity is meant to be lower. You're in water, you know what I mean? But it's different. But I was having a surfing pose. So there's a video, I don't obviously have it right now, but there's a video of me coming down the mountain and you see everyone else doing S-bends that are used to snowboarding like this. And then like constantly, because when you S-bend, you slow yourself. You don't have to go 100 miles an hour. You're going to fucking kill yourself. But you do the S-bends, you see them all being gracious and shit. Like little fucking snow angels, like, oh yeah, I'm just fucking tearing this up. And all of a sudden, I just beeline. I'm going fucking, after I was in heels, just squatting like I said, like slowing myself down, then boom, turned. And I didn't know how to S-bend properly. So I was doing more of instead of S-bends like this, big S-bends, I was doing kind of little fucking wiggle ones. And then eventually I was just down this fucking mountain so fucking quick. Ended up taking out fucking this person, legit. This lady was taking in the view. I promise this happened. This lady was taking in the view on her, like hitting heels. You know, I was saying, yeah, I got to hit heels. So she was on a slight heel, but because she hit heels and standing upright, she kind of stopped herself and she was taken in the serenity. And I legit came through behind her and I was trying to get around her, but I couldn't. And I just went, I didn't know what to say. You know, the saying you're panicking so much and you're just like, fuck this, like there's no time to think. I just went, yeah, you make noises instead of saying anything. I was like, ooh, 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 ooh. And then by the time she heard me, I sounded like a fucking panicked owl. And by the time she heard me, she kind of half looked back and I went boom right into the back of her, but she flew up in front of me kind of thing. And I slipped back and then she's about to like literally land on top of me. But because I was already like behind her, I kind of grabbed her in and she landed on top of me. So I like landed on my back, slapped my head back in. Lucky I was wearing a fucking helmet. Guys, wear a helmet when you snowboard. But yeah, and I caught her and she winded me. I was like, this, like whatever. I was like, fuck. And then I felt so bad, bro. I felt so fucking bad. And then the thing was, because when you snowboard, your face gets so fucking numb. Like you're wearing the goggles, you're wearing a beanie, a helmet, whatever, and you're wearing your fucking snow gear, but you just get so fucking cold that I didn't realize because my face was numb. So after I crashed into her, she sat up and I was just like, I'm so sorry. Like I didn't obviously mean to, blah, 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 and whatever. And I tried to create small talk because I felt rude just crashing into her like, poof. And then like I kind of did break her fall. But I was kind of just like, I didn't want to just go, all right, you're right, you'll be right, and then fuck off. So I was like, you know, small talk, oh, where are you from, blah, blah, blah. And she was kind of like looking at me funny, and I was like, oh, fuck, she's probably salty at me or something because I've crashed into her. And she was like, oh, I'm from fucking Canada, whatever, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, yeah, nice. I heard, you know, there's good snow there too, this and that, blah, blah. And then I knew she was being a bit standoffish, and I'm like, oh, fuck, get it. Like, I know I crashed into her, but fuck, it was an accident. Thought she was full butthurt. Go back over to my mate Hayden and I'm like, fuck, bro, like that was embarrassing as. He's like, yeah, we've seen the whole thing. They're already at the bottom of the mountain at this point, at the bar. There's a little bar there halfway down the mountain. And they're already there. She's like, well, yeah, we've seen it all happen, bro. It was funny as. And I'm just like, fuck. And I look into my mate's reflection of his goggles and I see a massive booger going across my mo and like past my mouth. Like it was so long. And it was just a string of booger. And my mate was just laughing at me before he wasn't even going to tell me. And I seen it. I was like, what the fuck? So this bitch, while I was trying to apologize to her, first of all, I have the audacity to knock her off her feet and fucking, yeah, crash into her. And I'm trying to make it up to her. But this bitch is probably thinking, fuck, this guy's is he a part of a support group? Is he a disabled person? There's a carer? Is there a carer for this guy right now? He's got fucking half frozen boogers across his frozen face, bro. I had snow all in my beard as well because I was just face planting all the time and shit. And yeah, just boogers. Like, fucking imagine that. That's like so embarrassing, bro. It's like that happens at the time. It's like, fuck, man. And how do you say that to a stranger? Are you one of those people? There's two different types of people. There's people that don't give a fuck. And if anything, they use it to kind of not shame the person, but kind of just be like, hey, like, you got fucking shit on your face, man. Like, for me, it's more of a helpful thing. You know what I mean? If you can remove it from your face, I'll fucking tell you about it. If it's pimples and shit, I'll shut up. But there's some people that just tell you, and there's others that just go, you know what? I'm going to let this guy go however many minutes or hours he has in this day to just go with fucking boogers on his face. Like, what the fuck? But yeah, it was basically I ended up learning a bit faster because the other boys could kind of do it. But I ended up learning and it was real fucking fun, man. Real fun. And if you're in Queenstown, also go to Ferg Pies and Ferg Burger. I prefer the pies over the burgers, which is, I know, fucking baffling to hear, but they're the pies, man. I've never had pies like these pies. Like, they were like the pastry. You know, you go to a servo like a fucking 7-Eleven and you get those pies that have been in there either too long and they have no business being on the shelf, or they're not ready, as in then they're still a bit frozen in the center. Like, and when you have those pies, it's just, the pastry's pale. You'd look like, the pies look scared. They literally look fucking pale. They've just watched a horror movie. They've just watched The Conjuring, right? They're all just lifeless. You go to this Ferg Pies in New Zealand, the pastries, bro, have been buttered with looks like they've been buttered with a fucking brush. Like, the Picasso of pies, just fucking playing opera or some shit. Like, fucking, I don't know, cue any fucking opera song. Ooh! Like, you know what I mean? Like Ave Maria. Ave Maria. All right. I'll stop now. But buttered pastry, and then when you cut the pie in half, you take a bite of this pie, boom. You look at it, because you know it's good, bro, when you have a bite and you look back at that motherfucker. When you're looking at your food in between bites, you know what I mean? It's, you look at this thing and the lid of the pie, right? The lid, obviously the fucking thing that covers the pie, the pastry. It's like this. I don't know. For people listening, it's hard, but I'm doing like my fingers linked together. It's kind of like you see the layers of pastry puffed up instead of stuck together. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the pastry on it is next level buttery. You walk into the shop, you smell butter. You're like, fuck me. These things are golden, like they've been sunbaking in fucking Mykonos or something. Nice and golden. I got the steak, blue cheese, and mushroom pie. With just a hint of blue cheese in the middle. Blue cheese is nothing, like, you can't just eat a block of blue cheese straight from the packet unless you're my old man, which is fucking retarded. But the bit of blue cheese in there with the steak was nice and tender, and actually steak, not fucking pedigree dog food in there. But amazing. And it's messy as, which I love. Like, the flakes just fucking go over it. Burger, amazing. Had so many drunk burgers there. Don't even remember what I ordered, but it was fucking amazing. After fucking Queenstown, we went to Lake Tekapo and Wanaka and Christchurch, or Wanaka. Also beautiful places, quiet as fuck. We didn't go in the peak season, that's for sure. But yeah, definitely packed for winter. We're in Lake Tekapo as well, and in Lake Tekapo, man, it was almost like we walked to the beach, and we kind of like strolled past, because we were just going for a walk, right? Like you normally fucking do. Like, we just got there, small fucking town, Lake Tekapo. Sorry, I just burped in the mic like a fucking slob. 1 second. Better. We rocked up to this beach, right? And we've seen this like hippie van, and it legit looked like, I was like thinking like 100% these motherfuckers are like filming Scooby-Doo or some shit, you know what I mean? Or whatever. This was like a full hippie van, full decked out van, right? And we walked past, and you know, to be fair, like some of the boys were on the hunt for certain substances like weed. We ended up getting scoring 28 grams of this guy who my mate stereotyped to look like a pothead, and he was bang on the money. The guy just picked up from whoever he was getting his bud off, and we're like, hey man, do you have any weed? Blah blah blah. And he's like, oh yeah man, I actually just picked up some. Then how much do you want? I'm like, how much do you have? And he's like, I have a 28 grams. We're like, well, we'll order all of it. Thank you. We'll make your life easier today, and we'll just take it off your hands. Let me get that real quick. So we got that, and then all of a sudden, some of my mates are like, oh, you know, we can get any other shit. They'll be good. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to go out of my way and sacrifice the trip just for that. But when we were seeing this hippie van, I put two and two together, right? Sherlock Holmes was on the case. I was literally like, this has to lead somewhere, right? We're walking that way anyway. So as we approach the van, we see some people like sitting on deck chairs out of the van, the sliding doors open. Clearly, it's an inhabitable van where some or all of them, there's like 4 of them, are sleeping in. Looked pretty good. Looked a bit dirty. Looked like if there was fucking any safety guys that usually work on my site that were there, they would have definitely shut that shit down. That shit was fucking not up to OH&S standards, to be honest. But nevertheless, we weren't sleeping there. We rock up. There's like a few guys, few girls, right? Then there's this girl with 2 bamboo sticks. And in between the bamboo sticks, there's like a net, like a fishing net kind of thing. Not a fishing net, net, whatever. And she's pushing it in and out of this fucking big bucket with soap suds in there, like water and soap suds, and really fucking going ham. And then she's just like walking around with these 2 bamboo sticks, open them up a little bit so the net spreads, and just does these ones, just waving back and forth, looking like a fucking yoga instructor, tripped out on her mind or some shit. And she's looking at this, and then these bubbles are kind of trailing behind, and some were small, but they kept getting bigger. And all of a sudden, there was a bubble the size of what is it the size of? I don't even fucking know. It was a big fucking bubble, like 4 times the size of my head, and I got a big head. So like 4 times the size of my head at least. And it's coming towards me, this bubble. And this girl is clearly tripped out of her mind. It was one of those girls who probably doesn't shave her armpits, to be honest. But fair enough if that's what you want to do. But I'm talking, if you seen her armpits and not her face, you'd be like, oh, that's an overweight man. You know what I mean? But yeah, she definitely didn't shave her legs. And so she's just like on the other side of this bubble following it, but wearing a full, moo skirt or whatever the fuck it was, like full hippie ass clothes and shit, like definitely off her face or something. And she was looking into this bubble on the other side, following it, and it was coming towards me, and I just popped it. And when I popped it, because it was coming towards me, she kind of spun out. It was just like, oh, she was like in a fucking bubble trance almost, you know what I mean? Like the Wizard of Oz fucking, remember the Wizard of Oz, the little, what is it, the Good Witch? There's the Wicked Witch of the West, and then she had that Good Witch sister or whatever, and she always floated in on a fucking bubble, like pink bubble, like Q fucking Wizard of Oz. But if you didn't see Wizard of Oz, legend. If you haven't, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah, but literally popped it, and she was just fucking in all sorts. And I'm like, oh, hey, how are you? She's like, oh, yeah, good. Yeah, I'm like, oh, good. And I was talking to the guy, and I'm just like, hey, we're just coming through. We're from Sydney, Australia, just on a holiday, obviously, blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, sweet, small talk, this and that, whatever. Got straight to the point. I was just like, oh, listen, me and my friends are looking for do you have anything, like, do you have any mushrooms or any, like, acid or whatever, something like that? And I'm just like, actually, I don't think we asked. I honestly don't think we asked. I think we just said, hey, we're just looking for something. Can you point us in the right direction? And he said to us, I got a sheet of acid tabs in the front seat if you want some. I'm like, well, who am I? Who am I to say no? Who am I? I'm just a man. I'm just whatever. I'm just giving what the Lord from above gives to me. You know what I mean? He gave me this opportunity. I'm going to take it. So sure, a few of the boys were, we don't really dabble in it all that much. So I got a full one because I'm not a fucking bitch. I was going to say faggot, but that word is kind of piercing, I guess. I got in trouble. I said the word faggot in front of Tori the other day, and she was, she was not happy with me. I had a full one. I'm not like I said, I'm in it. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. So I bought a whole one. But my other mate sometimes decided, we want a half hour. So, we got some tabs, and then we're like, sweet as. We had thank you for your service. You have done the world a fucking service in terms of us group of guys being the world. But we were just like, we were like, we had a fucking hike on the next day, and we were going on a mountain hike, and the mountain, funnily enough, was called Mount Cook. So, we're just cooking on this mountain, taking the tab for the hike, and our boys, because if you're going to do tabs, if you're going to do anything with like mushrooms or tabs or anything that's like psychedelic, obviously within reason, but it's better to get out and do shit in nature. Like, I feel like it's just the biggest ick if you're doing it just inside and you're like, oh, these walls, the fucking paint has changed a fucking tone of color. You know what I mean? Or I'm just listening to music. Like, music is mad on it, but I prefer doing shit. You know what I mean? So we went to Mount Cook, and when we were on the bus on the way there, we dropped it, and I was like, yeah, mad. We got there, we started doing this hike, and it was like 45 minutes into this hike, and I'm like, me being like thinking I'm above psychedelics, like I'm immune, like I'm fucking could withstand whatever, like I can fucking have anything and it will not affect me. I'm different. I'm built different. This is different. But I have this, and I'm like 45 minutes in, and I'm like, bro, I go to my mate Dylan Evans. I'm like, shout out to Dylan Evans. I was like, I don't feel like I'm feeling this, or I'm going to feel it. I feel like I'm sweating it out because it was a humid day. We're 45 minutes up this hike. We're already on an incline. So I'm sweating, and I'm like, oh, I feel like it's just the acid's just like out of my system. And he's like, oh, fuck, really? I'm like, yeah. Get up to the top. By the time we get up to the top and you stop, we stop, right? I'm looking out at this mountain, and it all just goes fucking, and I just realize how far we have walked up, and look out to the other mountain ranges, and I'm seeing grooves in this mountain from like, I'm seeing the water or ice or whatever that had melted being, fucking water. Well, fucking mountains randomly have streams of water going everywhere. Kind of like that. I'm seeing the trails that water have left behind, or it looks like kind of when the waves crash up to the sand on the beach and then pulls back, the tide pulls back, and the sand just has little grooves in it. I'm seeing that from the mountain ranges on the other side. I have my mate Christian Cordova talking to a fucking plant, literally. Like, talk to me, like talking to being a fuckweird. Like, everyone's just having a mad time. We're taking photos and shit. Like, but like really like looking and taking in the scenery and being in that moment, and just fucking, it was a wholesome moment, bro. I know it's different when you talk about a time you did fucking psychedelics. It's never as good as what you explain it when you're actually there. You know what I mean? I know you're probably thinking, fuck, move on, cunt. You went to Mount Cook, relax. But yeah, it was a good experience, man. It's just a fun story to tell, I think, like running into those guys from fucking the set of Scooby-Doo, the fucking hippies, like running into them, getting shit off them, and just having that moment. But yeah, it was amazing, man. It's, but then we went to Christchurch. We went to Wanaka as well. Wanaka, not really memorable, unfortunately, but I think it was beautiful, but not much to kind of say on Wanaka. And we ended in Christchurch. And when we entered in Christchurch, it was just amazing. It was just fucking, it was like different kind of vibes. Like, when I say amazing, is a lot of it is affected by the earthquake and shit, but it was good nightlife, you know what I mean? Good nightlife. And I thought I was going to get rolled because I went to the ATM by myself while the guys were having prees. I needed to get cash out, and none of the boys wanted to come with me. I was like, fuck it. They're all G'ing up, and I'm like, I'll just quickly go. It'll take 2 seconds. I walk down the street. I see this older guy with like dreadlocks, but he was like grey haired, like probably 50 something. And he was with his mate. And I was like, hey man, do you know where ATM is? You know what I mean? And he's like, oh yeah, man, I could tell you, but I could show you, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, that's my fucking Kiwi accent. And I'm like, oh, it's all good. Just tell me where it is. Like, I'm good with direction. And he's just like, oh, no, man, it's if I'll show you. I'm like, oh, fuck, all right, sweet, whatever. We're walking together. It's like nighttime, and I'm thinking, my fucking paranoia is creeping through. I'm like, this guy can easily beat me up and take my money. Like, what the fuck? How? I was meant to get a lot of money out, and I'm like, maybe I'll get a bit less out. So I got 150 out. I was supposed to get like more out. Got 150 out. And then all of a sudden I turn around, I'm like, oh, thanks, bro. Like, thanks. I appreciate it. He's like, yeah, no worries. He gives me a handshake, and then he pulls me in, right? He pulls me in and he grabs my face, and I'm like around he's one hand at the back of the neck, and he's just pulling me towards him. And I'm like, what the fuck? This guy's so strong as well. He's pulling me towards him, and I'm like, is he going to fucking make out with me right now? Because I feel like I'm in that much danger. I will give him the best pash of his life. I'll suck his dick if he asks. You know what I mean? I'm just anything to get out of that situation faster. I almost tried to pull away. He was pulling me in. I was like, oh, what the fuck? But he just had me, and he just kept going forward. But he just goes like fucking, they do the fucking, the welcoming thing for Kiwis is just like they just pull your heads in towards each other, nose against nose, like you're at a fucking vicious stare down. Like you just nose versus nose, and you go, and it's like a greeting. And I'm like, and I'm thinking, I'm shaking, bro. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, and he's going, and I'm going, oh, fuck. Like, I'm fucking I literally thought I was like, he's gonna either bash me or kiss me then bash me. You know what I mean? I didn't know which fucking one first. But yeah, other than that, it was pretty fun, bro. That was just a funny little experience there, man. And also, I fucking tore my pec major muscle off my fucking shoulder bone. So that was like another thing entirely. Like I was snowboarding, fucked myself up, but I had such a good time. I thought it was sprained, so I didn't go to the doctor, but I snapped my pec major right off, not just the shoulder muscle, the shoulder bone, and it retracted 6 centimeters. So it was all bunched up and swollen, double the size of the other one. But I just thought, oh, it's just sprained, and I didn't go to the doctor, just iced it, had a good time, didn't taint my trip at all. That's how amazing New Zealand was. But like Bali as well, I went to Bali fucking at the start of this year, and I know I've talked about Bali, so I won't really brush on that much because I've talked about it in the past, but man, amazing, bro. Amazing. It's a good trip as well. If you can't really spend much money, go to Bali, legit. You know, they haggle you a little bit, as you hear from everyone who goes there. You can barter them down easy. You go first, you half the price immediately. Walk out or go to walk out. They'll probably call you back and even quarter that if you want. But yeah, and even like the places that we went to were amazing. And, you know, unfortunately I got staff, you know what I mean? Golden staff. Sorry. I got the staff. Yeah, I got golden staff obviously from the tattoo, but that was the only downside about the trip. Other than that, I'm fine. But obviously there's a running thing here where I have injuries everywhere I go. And also, I forgot to say, in Greece, the first time I went in 2015, I rid off my quad bike. Hand on heart, I rid off my quad bike. I ripped the quad bike off, actually. I was going through this windy road, just quick brush up on Greece and I'll move on. But I was going down this windy road on my quad and there were stone walls about 1.5 meters high on either side of the road, about a meter or so on either side of the road, so right near the edge of the road. And I was going down this hill, and because part of the road was a bit loose gravel, more loose gravel than, you know, firm fucking like asphalt. And there was heaps of gravel, and I went down this corner and I fishtailed out. And because I tried to overcorrect, I went like, instead of going like around the bend, I hooked back, and the front of the bike rammed into the stone wall. The handlebars not bent forward, but you know how they can just, like on a BMX bike, you know, on a BMX bike, you can just push the handles forward, almost like that, boom, into the stone. I flipped over the wall, grazed my bicep. My right bicep was all bleeding and shit, but I landed on a bed of hay like it was from a fucking movie, like hand on heart, in a goat farm. And I landed on my back on I didn't hurt my back, but it was still like it was more where there was heaps of hay, like, and it's almost like someone was, a higher being was looking out for me, bro. I was fucked. But because I was only on my L's at the time, because I was a late bloomer getting my P's, unfortunately, I was one of those fucking dickheads. But didn't have my P's, let alone my fucking, you know what I mean? But so I drove, that wasn't my bike that I registered, it was my sister's friend's bike. So she had to take the damaged bike back to the quad place, and I was the one bleeding under my shirt. I had to like put a patch on my arm, and when I was wearing no shirt, but I had my towel over my neck and covering my arm, and I walked past and she wheeled the fucking bike, fucked it, bro. The whole cage crushed in, and it was like €600, which is like $1,000, I think. It was fucked. But I paid it, obviously. But yeah, she didn't have a scratch on it. It was like, you sure you rode off this bike? And meanwhile, I'm just fucking cruising. But yeah, it's a running thing with me that I just don't have much luck in terms of injuries and shit when I go overseas. I leave me and my missus always make a joke. Oh, you leave a part of yourself in everywhere you go. You know what I mean? Rid off the ATV in fucking Greece, New Zealand. Tore my pec off my shoulder bone. Had to get it operated on when I got home. Bali, golden staff. You know what I mean? It's just now I'm gonna have to bubble wrap myself going to fucking America. That's for sure. Fuck. That's the thing. I'm like an unlucky, lucky person. Like I'm lucky in unlucky situations. Like I've escaped a lot of shit in my life where I'm just like, yeah, it could have been worse. But yeah, but in saying that, I wouldn't even change it for the world. Like, even though I've had my ups and downs overseas, the ups outweigh the downs 1 million times over. So please, anyone listening some people don't like to travel, and that's fine. But if you do have anywhere and you do have that little feeling inside you to travel, bro, do it, man. Do it. You feel so much better after you come back. You're more ready to take on the fucking world, bro, when you come back, and that life that is ever so repetitive. You break it up a bit like that, you experience new things, it fills you with something fucking, some crazy endorphins, bro, out of this world. But just to wrap this up, I'm not done yet. You haven't escaped me that easy, guys. But I just wanted to go through a few, a few news reports that I found quite humorous through the week. But yeah, man, I'll let you listen to this and I'll comment on it after. But check this out real quick, guys. Check this out.
Accused of catching and cooking an ibis has been freed on bail under strict conditions. A magistrate telling the Vietnamese national the ibis, often called a bin chicken, is protected and not for eating.
Where others see an ugly menace, Tom Quash saw a tasty meal. How many bin chickens did you kill?
One.
Only one?
Yeah.
Why did you kill it?
I ate it.
Oh my God. Typical, sounds like the most stereotypical Asian ever. What happened to the ibis, Berta? Oh, I ate it. I ate it.
The 60-year-old was arrested yesterday after officers allegedly found a dead ibis in his Malabar unit. Neighbours raising the alarm after hearing the bin chicken in distress. Did it taste any good?
I don't know. I haven't tried it yet.
He might not have eaten it. How are you going to cook it?
I just boil it up with fish sauce, something like that.
It's not the first time he's accused of killing an ibis.
Not the
He was
first.
also charged in March after this incident in Eastwood where locals intervened. The bird later found dead. Today, Quash was granted bail on the condition he leave ibis and all birds alone.
Well, I mean, are we surprised he's Asian? Are we surprised? No, we're not surprised. But are we surprised that he's, one, going after the most ugly, non-appealing bird in the bird family? There's literally fewer uglier birds than the bin chicken. It's called a bin chicken for a reason. You're not getting this colorful, beautiful looking peacock like waving its fucking tail behind it, full fucking giving you this illusion that it's all these beautiful colors. It's literally like a starved flamingo that's been discolored and cast aside because he was fucking, I don't know, turned on his fucking own or something. And then he started fucking another one that was an outcast and they just made their own little colony of ugly looking birds. And like, it's just funny because like, I don't know, it's of all the races, and I know it's like I'm picking on Asians. I'm not. I have a fair few Asian friends, or not fair few. I have a few Asian friends. It's nothing like that. But I'm just saying, you got to agree though. You got to be honest. Out of all the races, they take the most risks in terms of what they put in their fucking mouths. Like they would eat shit that's like, oh, that's edible, like pigeon. I'm sure pigeon. I might be wrong, but I think pigeon might have started in some Asian country. Although New Zealanders eat. Oh, do New Zealanders eat quail? No, New Zealanders, the quail is their fucking symbol. But people eat quail, I guess. But like bin chickens, bro. Really, ibises. It's just, I wonder what that would taste like. He didn't get the chance to eat it, clearly. But man, like, is inflation that bad? People have stopped going to Woolies to get the roast chickens that cost $9 a fucking for a chicken. They've stopped getting that, and they've turned to eating ibises. I remember those roast chickens are the goat of fucking, you go to Woolies, that motherfucker will feed you for 4 meals or whatever, you know what I mean? Beautiful roast chickens. But you're telling me that Asian guy, he's walking into Woolies, he's like, the roast chickens are $9. They used to be $8. You know what I mean? And he goes in there and he walks out, he's pissed off and he sees this ibis chilling. He's like, oh, well, fuck. I'm going to cook me that. What do you think? Did you think he was going to gut it and stuff it with some fucking herbs and shit? Fucking retarded, man. It's so crazy. Like, and that's not his first offense either. So you think like maybe like crows actually remember. They literally remember people. Like if you fuck with a crow, they'll remember you. Imagine if the ibis bird was the same and he's just fucking it's the ibis killer, the bin chicken killer. Oh, I'm taking out the trash birds. That's such a bad Asian. That's a bad Asian accent, man. Oh, that trash birds. Oh, it's fucking retarded, man. But you know, the Asians, like I said, they take risks, man. They eat pigeon. They eat. I've seen Asians eat like live octopus or squid. You see it alive. It's on the plate, like moving food and shit. Like fucking, like it belongs on the set of fucking Little Mermaid or some shit, and it just strolls onto this. Somehow gets onto this plate with a side of dumplings and some chopsticks, and they just pick it up like they're picking up mee goreng. You know what I mean? Like they're picking up something that has no movement to it, and they're just this is normal. This is, and then the thing is, in the Asian culture, it is polite to slurp and eat loudly. Like ASMR. If you love ASMR, go to Chinatown in the city and go to a noodle place. You'll be coming all over the floor. If you're really into that and that tickles your fancy, you'd be like, that's what you want to eat. But these motherfuckers are eating, and this poor octopus is grabbing onto their back molars, like fucking trying to. Their suction cups are peeling off, and all of a sudden they're just chewing, like fucking inking. It puts ink in their mouth. I don't know if they ink, like probably trying to get this Asian dude to spit him back out, but no. And I'm wondering, how long is that octopus alive for when it swallows that octopus? When he or she swallows that octopus, is that motherfucker in its stomach, just like, oh, what's happening here? The stomach acids burn it alive, like, oh, you know what I mean? If anything, it's torture. Kill the fucking thing. Cook it, fry it up. I love octopus. But if one of those tentacles move once without my say-so, without me moving it myself, it is not going in my mouth, bro. It's got to have a process of elimination. It's got to get killed. It's got to get cooked. Bit of oil, bit of garlic, bit of paprika, whatever you want with it. Fucking brush that shit like the Ferg pies with the butter brush. You know what I mean? Oh, callback. But yeah, man, and that's the hard-hitting facts that we talk about at FireCast. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is, if you guys didn't know about that man eating an ibis bird, what are we doing here? Fuck the submarine with the millionaires and shit on it. Let's talk about ibis birds getting eaten. Well, he didn't actually eat it, but, you know, almost. But there was a teacher that got let go from a job from sending TikToks. Well, not sending TikToks, doing TikToks with her students. Like, for real. Like, let me play this, and I'll speak about it after. Right?
This teacher has been fired after filming raunchy TikToks in her classroom. The dance-loving educator performed questionable dances with her students in a bid to engage them. She said, "One of my students invited me to dance with him, and the class really enjoyed the interaction. I know how difficult it is for younger students to focus their attention. I can take advantage of their interest and bring them closer to teaching." The TikToker with almost 10 million followers was also called out online for her classroom attire and the content she posts on other sites. This teacher has been fired after filming raunchy TikToks in her classroom.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's crazy, right? Like, you got like, and I'm talking both sides. You got guy teachers, you know, you got guy teachers playing up and doing all sorts, whatever the trouble they're getting into with some students, which is obviously not right at all. There's woman teachers that sometimes get with, you know, students, whatever they're into, whether they're into the virgins of high school, they like them innocent, you know, get in before their hair does, all that kind of garbage. And or you got some that like year 8, a bit more experience in the high school field. And then you got 9s, 10s, 11s. They're all fucking kids at the end of the day. You know what I mean? It's dicey as you can't go doing that shit. And you're a teacher. You're supposed to be there looking after, teaching, learning, pushing the younger generation on to the big bad world. You know what I mean? Not the big bad world, but, you know, the big world. Like, and you got these older teachers either taking advantage or whatever of school kids sometimes. Now, this isn't that, right? To that extent. But listen, if I'll take you back to when I was in high school. Testosterone filled Joey even more so than now. And I went to St. Dom's, so shout out to St. Dom's, all boys school. So it's different. This school's clearly co-ed. Doesn't matter though, but even more so at a boys school, the test levels are through the roof. It's almost like we're fucking secretly like fucking jerking each other off in the fucking closet. Like, how you're around guys and shit. How the fuck can you be more? But there's something about being around your mates that makes you a bit more, and you don't have to worry about, because if I went to co-ed school, I would be just too focused on girls. So I didn't mind going to all boys school. I'd still rock up to fucking school with sleepy eye and shit, and I'd just be fucking wouldn't give a fuck. But there's testosterone. There's mostly guy teachers, but then when there was girl teachers, bro, because we're in all boys school, and it's like seeing a girl in your life, other than if it's your fucking siblings, right? When you're in school, essentially, you barely ever see them. You know what I mean? So you just like they're like it's almost like a exotic zoo animal walk through the quad, right? Miss Stubbings, shout out to Miss Stubbings, will walk through like this, and she'd walk and shake her booty like boom, 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 and people were just playing handball. Everybody's playing handball in the quad. It's almost like someone froze time, like you were in the Avengers or something. And Doctor Strange is like, and then everyone goes, even the ball goes, and everyone just looks, and then she's just still walking. You know what I mean? And then it was crazy, right? So they would just do that and just talk to us, blah blah, whatever, normal. This bitch in this video, right, that I showed you, she's making TikToks, right? If Miss Stubbings, for example, or anyone, any hot teacher was to make a TikTok with me, right, it would just be a TikTok, right? But there's certain TikToks where TikTok is a bit of a, say TikTok again, TikTok. But TikTok is the biggest thirst trap fucking social media outlet I find, even more so than any others, Instagram, Facebook, anything. Because it's like nowadays you're just watching videos, right? And then, you know, guys do dances as well, of course. But it's much easier for a girl to be sexy than a guy. You know what I mean? Guy tries to be sexy. It's like, unless you're fucking Channing Tatum or some hot cunt, it's kind of hard. But girls, they just do that TikTok and they just put some fucking thirst trap caption like, oh, room's dirty. Or like, wish I could grow my glutes. And her glutes are just like, well, boom. And they're just like, wish I could grow my glutes. Someone give me a tip on how to better myself. Just because they're waiting for someone to just be like, hey, girl, that's a peach. Your peach has a peach. You know what I mean? They're just waiting for that validation. You know what I mean? It's just funny. Sometimes I look through it all. TikTok is the most obvious form of that, I find. I can see through that shit more. So the fact that she's doing this with her students, she's shaking. The kind of dance she was doing, she's been doing this before. Like I said, she's got like 10 million followers or something, and that's clearly because she's an attractive woman, I assume. But she does these dances and she's doing it with her students, and you know these, like right now, these two students are next to her on either side, and you know they're just like, do you reckon they do that? He love how I ride it. Hop on the dick and I get excited. This pussy off limits because I'm your teacher. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God. You know what I'm talking about. If you watch TikTok, if you had TikTok for a while, you know these fucking trends, bro. And, you know, what if they were doing that? Or fucking they were doing I don't know. Like, it's just strange. Or she's just shaking her tits. I feel like there's something with TikTok. TikTok is the modern day flirting. Maybe not. Maybe I'm overthinking this. But the way she was moving, she was even dropping it. She dropped it low, and you know they do the bend and snap. The girls like bend and snap. You know what I mean? She's shaking her up. She's moving a bit too sexual for doing it with her students. You know what I mean? Like, because you know those students, they're thinking one thing. I'm trying to fuck. You know what I mean? Those boy students she was doing it with. It's like on either side of her. Are we making this a tag team? What's doing? What is this going to be? Yeah, what's happening here? You know that's their thought. That's the gateway, bro. You start making with your students. There's a professionalism there. You don't really, just maybe let them think you're above the TikTok shit. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm not from TikTok, and then go home as soon as you get home from school. She gets home from school. No, I don't have TikTok. I'm sorry. Boom. She left. How I ride it. Hop on the dick and I get excited. Just maybe don't do it with your fucking students, bro. Oh my God. And it's the most non-subtle way to do it, eh? At least take little Johnny to the corner and fucking give him a bit of a tug with it and not put it on TikTok, huh? Like, you might as well. But I mean, obviously I'm exaggerating a little bit just for the comedic purposes, but I do believe that was just, I mean, it was fucking reason enough for her to let go. So there's that, you know what I mean? But yeah, just funny, man. Like, imagine back in the day when I was in high school, when I was a wee lad. When I was in high school, man, like obviously TikTok wasn't around, but like the most you'd get in is a conversation of her just going, the teacher wouldn't even be flirting with, that's the thing with the male mind, bro. Like sometimes girls talk to you, especially when you're younger, you're more like naive and whatever. You think you're like God's gift. Like a girl could say anything to you. The teacher, Miss Stubbings. I keep going back to Miss Stubbings, but that's the only girl I remember right now because I've been saying it, the only teacher. Or whoever. They'd be like, hey, miss, are you doing anything this long weekend? Oh, no, not much. They'd obviously not tell you because, these weren't the bitches that were making TikToks and like, rattle the dick and get it. They weren't one of those, they were proper, like they were professionals, right? But just even small talk, you'd be like, oh my God, she talked to me. And we had a full conversation about what she was doing on the weekend. Mates would be like, what do you mean? What's she doing? And she's like, oh, she said not much. She wants it, bro. Not much? Fucking hell. She's just being fucking subtle. She really wants to tell me, like, she's fingering me over the fucking weekend. I was like, fingering herself over. Nah, joking. I'm joking. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, back in the day, you think that, like, bro, not everyone is into you, bro. You're what? I was like, what, 17 at the time? Pimp acne and shit. Fucking wearing my pants up high, probably. Just fucking laying game, as they say. You know? Laying game. Fucking hell. I was so cringe in high school, man. Holy shit. I think we all were. If you think you weren't, you definitely were. I feel like everyone's cringe at some point in their fucking high school life. You look back at photos, you're like, I did not deserve to exist then. But one more I wanted to talk about. One more I wanted to discuss. One more, guys. And then I know you're probably going to cry yourselves to sleep after hearing this tonight because you're like, fuck, I just want another solo episode with Joey. You know what I mean? But, you know, all good things must come to an end. But listen, guys, look at this. One more story.
Jetstar has stood down one of its long-haul pilots after traces of an illicit drug were detected in his luggage. Adam Hegarty joins me from Melbourne Airport. Adam, what more can you tell us?
Well, Peter, it's also our understanding that drug-related content was found on this pilot, that first officer's phone, after that initial detection here at Melbourne Airport on the morning of May 23. It was the result of a routine drug screening by AFP officers on that morning after that first officer, along with, of course, passengers and crew, were checked here after they arrived here at Melbourne Airport from Bali on that long-haul flight. Now, importantly, we should point out that the AFP hasn't had enough evidence to charge that pilot, that first officer, with any sort of criminal offences. But as we said off
Because he snorted it all. Anyway, proceed.
the top there, is certainly enough for Jetstar, the airline, to act and stand that pilot down pending the outcome of an internal investigation. They've released a statement, Jetstar, this evening. They won't go into detail, but it does say we have zero tolerance towards pilots operating under the influence of alcohol or other drugs, and always undertake testing in accordance with aviation regulations. And at this stage, there's no indication of how long the Jetstar investigation will take.
Okay.
Good evening, Jetstar passengers. Today's reporting is 21 degrees on this fine Tuesday morning. We're about to take liftoff and get off the runway in a few minutes. Yes, just by... I hope everyone has a safe flight today. I hope everyone has a safe flight today, and feel free to ask the staff for anything you require. And yes, thank you for flying with Jetstar. Thank you. Mommy, what does the pilot have a cold? The Colombian cold, bro. I mean, I'm assuming it was Coke, but who fucking knows? Imagine, right? Imagine if you're someone that has a fear of flying. Some people don't like flying, fair enough. Imagine if you have a fear, a genuine phobia of fucking flying, right? And you would like to think in an ideal world, fucking Pete's up there driving the plane and he's never touched drugs in his life. He's sober. His kid probably passed away from a drug overdose, so he's heavily against drugs. He's actually a priest, you know? He's also a priest in he's part-time pilot, part-time priest. So he's a good man as well. And yeah, he's just clear-headed. He's driving the plane, and his dad was a pilot. So he learnt to be a pilot from a very young age. So the guy's been flying for like 50 years at least. The guy's actually, no, not 50. That's a bit. He's been flying for about 35 years. This guy's about 50. So he's in his prime of piloting a plane, I reckon. And he's flying. And you hope that's your man, right? But this guy, he could have well been that man, right? He could have been similar to that. But fucking Al Pacino over here. Say hello to my little friend. All right, just landing now. Oh, there's a bit of turbulence, guys, so just don't mind that. If the plane glitches for a little bit, it's just because I've gone to heat the plate up. And yeah, fly safe, guys. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy that he had drugs on him. That's crazy. And I feel like if you're a pilot, like, I don't know, maybe if you fly planes, you feel like, I don't know, some sense of power, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm just not going to get caught, or I've been flying for years and they haven't did a drug test. But surely anything to do with an airport, like you go into an airport and you're like, it's fucking security central, you know what I mean? You don't think they're going to test a person that's responsible for what? How many fucking hundreds of people can fit on a plane? I'm not sure, but I'm not going to say a number, but 100 people. You're trusting this one person who's a human. They make human errors. They're like anyone. They're not a fucking AI thing. Even that could glitch. But a human, right? They're responsible for like so many lives. You'd think that, why would you think in your right mind that you had any business bringing drugs on the plane? It's so retarded. It's so fucking funny, man. It's like, it could have went so sideways if they didn't bust him. You know what I mean? And I wonder how many times this cunt's he's been literally in the clouds, both physically and mentally, bro. Euphoria. He's literally in the clouds. And he's on one. I'm just assuming it's coke, but who knows? It might be a fucking, definitely coke. Definitely coke, right? What other drug are you taking flying a fucking plane? You're not taking a bloody a cap, that's for sure. Why are you taking MDMA? You do MDA. You go in the pilot. One of the drink waitresses, she's tending to someone who's feeling sick, and she goes into the cockpit to get something or to talk to the pilot about something, and the pilot's just fucking done a cap and he's listening to that. Oh, guys, feel free to ask any of the staff or anything. Oh, yep. Feel free, guys, to ask for anything, and thank you for flying with Jetstar. Yeah, bro, that's fucking crazy, bro. What else? If it's weed, he's definitely too chill. If he's smoking weed, his fucking reaction time is gonna be, hey guys. Welcome aboard Jetstar. Feel free to ask for anything you need. If you get the munchies, just holla. Just holla. Oh, thank you for flying with Jetstar. He keeps holding. Thank you for flying and smoking with Jetstar. Smoke weed every day. Yeah, no, it's definitely that. Definitely coke. But yeah, I mean, he stood down and rightfully so, bro. But fuck, shout out to everyone who fucking has fears of who's running that plane. Because man, yeah, it's just crazy that he's in charge for all those lives and he's got drugs on him. That's crazy. He definitely won't be able to fly a plane again. That's for sure. But guys, this is this fucking closes out this filler of the Joey cast today. It seems like, sorry, wouldn't you? By the time you hear this, me and Iggy will be fucking overseas, and our girlfriends will be overseas, the whole gang, and we'll be living it up, man. It's gonna be something special, bro. And it's hard to get the amount of people that we got to go on this trip, and it's probably never gonna happen again before people start buying houses, having kids, all that boring stuff. So yeah, I'm just trying to savor every moment, because you'll listen to this and we're overseas. But when I recorded this, it was seriously 2 days before we left, and I've been counting down for like 6 months. So it's gone really fucking quick, and yeah, I'm just trying to learn to savor every moment. So, and I feel like because it's so fleeting, times and memories are so fleeting, and the weird thing is when you do travel, after a while, those memories will seem like a dream. You'll struggle to remember a lot of things, but like minute details. But you'll remember obviously the trip in terms of what you've done. But it goes to show that it's just in the moment. You have to enjoy it. You know, try not to be on your phone too much when you're overseas. Clearly, all right, get a fucking picture in front of the bloody Eiffel Tower if you go into Paris. Get a fucking photo eating your first gyros in Greece at the Acropolis, or fucking wherever you're going. Go to a picture of the Amalfi Coast in Italy. Take those pictures, but try to be in the moment, because before you know it, we'll be back and we'll be telling all these stories about our trip. And then that's all it will be, memories and stories. And you just make the most of it when you're there. And yeah, I promise you, those that want to travel or are thinking about it, please do, man. Please. And yeah, remember that you only have a small time on this, not small time, but compared to the big picture of things, a small time on this earth. And the more you can experience, the more you can feel with those you love and your friends and family or whoever you're going with, or even if you go by yourself and do a small trip by yourself or a long trip by yourself, like just learn to take in those moments, because that's all we have, moments. And you don't want to be working a 9 to 5 your whole life without experiencing anything in between that. You know what I mean? So please do it. Do it for me. Do it for the ones at fucking FireCast here as well. Do it for fucking FriendlyFire. Do it for me. Do it for DZ. Do it for yourself amongst all things. You know what I mean? Because, yeah. But thank you, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. And I hope I wasn't a bore. I hope sometimes, you know, like I said, I got a bit of ADD fucking symptoms happening here. Me and my missus did the test online the other night, and I'm pretty sure I have it. So, but yeah, I'm just trying to entertain you guys, and I love the support. I love the boys. I love fucking Iggy, DZ, fucking, yeah, it's just, we've created something special here, and I'm liking where it's going. All right. And thank you for everyone that's listening, everyone that's following. Love you all. And yeah, peace, man. Take care, huh?